John 21, the last chapter in the Gospel of John, and it's a great transitional chapter to the next book we're going to start reading in our series, and that's the book of Acts. And so we'll do that starting tomorrow. But let's go over to John 21, verse 1. It says, "Later Jesus appeared again to his disciples beside the Sea of Galilee, and this is how it happened." And so this is a great story. It kind of reminds you of sort of the beginning when he calls them. Now he's sort of reaffirming that call, so to speak. It says they're out there fishing, and from the shore, he called out to them, and he said, throw your net out on the right-hand side of the boat, and you'll get some fish, because they hadn't caught any fish yet. So they did, and they couldn't haul in the net because there was so many fish. There were so many fish in it, and so then Jesus realized it was him, and he jumps in the water. So many things that sort of remind us of some of the things we've already read in the life of Christ and his disciples. And remember, Jesus was inviting them to be fishers of men, right? He's giving them a sense of purpose. He said earlier that he was sending them out into the world to fish for people. Remember, that's what he even said at the very beginning when he invited them to follow him. He said, "I will make you fishers of men." Okay, so anyway, in verse 13, he serves them the bread and the fish, which again, I think reminds us of John 13 when he served them, when he waited the table at the Last Supper and he washed their feet. Here he is, the risen Christ, serving them again. How would you like that? Breakfast right from Jesus. But then after breakfast, something real interesting happens here in verse 15. He says to Peter, "Do you love me more than these?" And Peter said, "Yes, I love you." And he said, "Then feed my lambs." And you can read this for yourself, but he asks him 2 more times. And both times Peter says, "Yes, I love you." And it's almost as if Jesus is giving Peter a mulligan. Peter had denied Jesus 3 times at his trial. And now Jesus is asking him 3 times if he loves him, if he's committed to him. And, because again, he's sending Peter out. And look at what he says here, Jesus speaking to Peter in verse 18. "I tell you the truth, when you were young, you were able to do as you liked. You dressed yourself and went wherever you wanted. But when you're old, you will stretch out your hands, and others will dress you and take you where you don't want to go." And it says in verse 19, so we don't have to guess what he meant by that. It says Jesus said this to let him know by what kind of death he would glorify God and die, right? And then Jesus told him, "Follow me." And that's exactly what Jesus was talking about. Follow me, not just in my life, but specifically to Peter, follow me in my death. Because history tells us Peter died on a cross like Jesus did, although Peter requested to be hung upside down because he didn't feel worthy to die the way his Lord died. So at the very bottom there, then to finish up the Gospel of John, verse 25, Jesus also did many other things. If they were all written down, I suppose the whole world could not contain the books that would be written. And how true is that? So go ahead and read John chapter 21. We'll finish up the Gospel of John, and I'll see you tomorrow where we'll start the book of Acts.